Check 1, 2. Check, check, check. All right. We're going to go ahead and get this show on the road. Great to have everybody here on this beautiful Monday. Boy, I tell you, Rex, I feel a little nervous. I got two dudes shouting at me behind me here. They're not happy. They're not happy. It's I know, Hunter. We did not get your approval for your image here. But I'm sure you're yelling at the referees during the Texas game here. I think that's what that is. Great to have all of you here for our 5th meeting of the year. We've got 15 altogether. Nobody in the country does more Touchdown Club meetings during football season than the Little Rock Touchdown Club. So congratulations there. For those of you that were here last week, did you enjoy Darren McFadden? Let's hear it. D-Mac was what a class act. My Lord have mercy. Down-to-earth guy, just super class act. Couldn't ask for a better guy that we consider we pretty much acknowledge the greatest to ever play football at the University of Arkansas. Next week, for the Notre Dame game, Tim Brown, we actually had him probably about 10 years ago, class act. He was at Notre Dame. That's why we're bringing him in this week. It's the week of the Notre Dame game. And he Heisman Trophy winner at Notre Dame under Lou Holtz, goes on to be an NFL Hall of Famer with the Los Angeles Raiders. He's going to talk about the Notre Dame game, Notre Dame tradition, so excited to have him. No pressure on Hunter Yurachek today. He just has to follow Sam Pittman, Jimmy Johnson, Lawrence Taylor, and Darren McFadden. No big challenge there, right? Yeah, no pressure or anything. We want to remind everybody, so for the first time in our Touchdown Club's history, we are allowing people to buy tickets for future meetings. We've not allowed that. So here's the deal. I'm just going to tell you right now, you can go online right now and you can look, anybody, it be Tim Brown, whether it be Mark May or whoever, Mac Brown, Craig James. But one is getting a lot of traction is Kelly Finglass, the director of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. I'm not lying. So this is probably going to happen. I do have to give my girlfriend Jessica credit for the one to bring in Kelly for this meeting. There are a lot of these cheerleading organizations that will probably want to bring their girls to this. We're having to move because of a conflict here over to the Marriott. So if you want to be at that, I would probably go ahead and go and get your tickets. It's going to be fascinating. I don't know if we can afford to bring in any cheerleaders because Kelly wasn't cheap as itself. I'm just going to tell you right now. Wow. But it's a big, listen, Hunter, I don't know if you know, but the Cowboy cheerleaders, it's called American Sweethearts on Netflix. It's a huge hit nationwide. Done it on Netflix the last couple of years, and it's also been on CMT for about 15 years. It's a big deal. So just encourage you to go ahead and go online to do that if you want to get tickets. And also, too, I think we've got, Anita, do we have if you want to make sure you get notices from us, if you don't get emails and things, I think we got a QR code right there. If you want to hold up Let's give a round of applause for Hawks Plus for doing that. Hunter, they've really done great work. A lot of great documentaries and things, and that one just was released last week. It's really inexpensive. It's about $89 a year, $8 a month to get. So go to Hawks Plus online to get that and check that out. I'm going to try to watch it this week as well. We have to do some raffles here real quick. For both our posters up here, our winners are 041765, 041765. 041765. Look at your number. You got, okay, congratulations. That's one. And the other is 041760. 041760. 0417. Did you win this last year, Kevin? Kevin Brooks. There you go. Listen. It's, you know you're in good hands with Kevin. The gentleman back there may be throwing things at this poster later on this week. We don't know. But thank you for doing that, for purchasing that. I want to encourage you to go ahead and mute your phones if you don't mind. You can be watching us on Arkansas PBS Live, the Touchdown Club YouTube page, Facebook, Twitter, lrtouchdown.com, and of course, Hunter will be live on 103.7 The Buzz here in just a few minutes. So mute your phones. Do want to thank all of you who have become members. All you sponsors, can't do it without you. Can't have the kind of names that we have in without sponsors and great members, so we appreciate that. No Chuck Monan today. Pixian preacher is out of the state. So we bring in Randy Allison, the minister of music at Pinnacle Church of Christ. And everybody knows Randy. He's with Sunstar Insurance of Arkansas. Greg, you know, one of the great insurance guys besides you. He is the granddad, Hunter, of Dylan Carter, Razorback pitcher who's now with the San Francisco Giants. Please welcome Randy Allison, everybody.
Let's bow our heads in prayer. Father, it's not often we come to you and say, thank you for Monday. But when it's Little Rock Touchdown Club Monday, we thank you. Such a special event for us to be together with people that are friends, people we care about, people we love, and these days are very special to us. And we thank you for David and his amazing work to give us 15 weeks of so many wonderful guests. And because of our sponsors and the volunteers that help him, it makes it also inviting for the rest of us here today. I want to say one thing about last week's guest, Father, and thank you for Darren McFadden. He showed so much humility and such a kind spirit, and it just meant a lot to, I think, to every one of us that listened to him, and we want you to bless him in his efforts of sobriety, keep him from temptation, and keep him on the path. But today, Father, we are honored to have the leader of all things Arkansas athletics, Hunter Yurachek. We know the tremendous stress of college sports, so bless Hunter with vision and wisdom to lead with moral courage and lead our great Razorback organization. Thank you for the wonderful food we had today, and please, and in Jesus' name, God, bless America.
Thank you, Randy. Surprised he didn't sing it a little bit while he was up here. He's outstanding. Do want to thank our great sponsors, if we can, real quick, starting off with Simmons Bank. 122 years old. We got Freddie Black at the head table. Freddie, you're still chairman of the golf tournament, right? So you've got that. You had the Simmons Bank Open in Nashville this past weekend. In Rex, October 20th through the 26th, you got the Simmons Bank Championship presented by Stevens at Pleasant Valley Country Club. One of the great new tournaments. Freddie, great job last year. You guys are going to raise the bar. Excited about that. And I heard that George Macris got a honorary PGA card, right? Is that right? Good for him. Listen, I thought he might be here today, and so, but we missed him. I know he got busy, but thank you for Simmons Bank and their sponsorship. Speaking of Stevens, Hunter, I don't know if you know, but this weekend, or actually happening this week rather, is the Jackson T. Stevens Cup in Shore Acres in Lake Bluff, Illinois. So that's going on right now. You can turn on the Golf Channel and see that going on. That was obviously named in honor of Jack Stevens. Razorbacks are normally playing in that every year. Had a scheduling conflict, and they are not playing in that this year, but I know Curtis Jeffries is there. It's a beautiful facility, so a golf course, so check that out online. Thanks to Stevens. Crane Automotive, we appreciate the Crane family of what they've done. 19 dealerships across the state. They are the best. 6,000 cars available. Check them out and tell them that the Touchdown Club sent you. You know, speaking of, Simmons had 122 years of business. Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings, 125 years of business. Judy, you just had to top them by 3 years, didn't you? Appreciate all what they do. They represent all the economy's leaders, 60 different industries, the backbone of our state. I've worked with Judy and Charlie and Antoine, all the great folks, great attorneys at Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings. If you got a legal issue, call them. They will take great care of you. Oaklawn Hot Springs, I'm stinking it up on my picks. I'm just going to be real honest. If you go, Andrew's agreeing. Thank you, Andrew. So if you see my picks, maybe just go opposite for the next few weeks. But that's okay. I'm going to get better. But I love it. It's a lot of fun trying to pick these games, and download the Oklahoma Sports app. You get a lot of bonuses if you haven't joined to do it. I know there's some. We got Zach Gillum, Kayla McGee here today, and we have Chris Jones and former Razorback Luke Jones. Did Luke leave? He went to of course, the offensive lineman is going to use the bathroom. Is not here. Offensive lineman for the Razorbacks. Chris, great to see you, and Zach, thanks so much. Listen, don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. Roger still touts me. He still touts me. He still believes in me. But thanks to Oaklawn Sports. We appreciate them so much. And download the app today if you haven't already. Summerwood Sports, David and Doug Hendricks, David Hendricks Jr. and the gang. Thanks so much for y'all's sponsorship. Y'all are the best. If you've got anything related to youth basketball, volleyball, baseball on the way, maybe. Their facility is unbelievable for practices, for training sessions, birthday party. Check them out. Isaiah Joe's been there for at least 2 years in a row now. It's outstanding. Appreciate them. Double B's owner Steve Lytle and GM Ed Light. 34 locations across the state. Gas it, grab it, and go. Rex knows hot delis and pizza there at the Double B's. Don't want to miss that when you stop in if you're at a Double B's. Sissy's Log Cabin, 54 years they've been around. Great thanks to Bill and Sherry Jones. They have locations in Pine Bluff, Little Rock, West Little Rock, Jonesboro, Memphis, and Conway. Have you seen the new location on University there? Really impressive. Appreciate Sissy's. Great to always see Renata Jenkins Byler with Roller Funeral Homes. 24 locations across the state. Renata is super great. Has been supporting the club for many, many years. The Hatcher Agency, seated to the whole table to the right over there. Greg Hatcher, Hatcher Capital Investments, Hatcher Agency, Scoops Ice Cream, Twin City Limo, Finish Line RV. They do it all. Greg, thanks so much for your support. I see you've got your understudy Lane here today, monitoring every step you take throughout the day. But appreciate Greg and all he does for the Touchdown Club. Vantage Service Company, Kevin Brooks, One Call does it all. Been around for 35 years. 501 One Call, appreciate them. Simmons Bank Arena, the week is finally here for Rex. We've got Nelly, and I called Ja Rule on the show today, J Rule. That just shows you how much I know about modern music. But I know Nate Bargatze is the comedian this Sunday, which will have about 13,000 people over at Simmons Bank Arena. He's really hilarious, and he's clean. He is G-rated and just pure funny. So thanks to Simmons Bank Arena. Pulaski County Farm Bureau, Todd Dennis and Stephen Reichard. Appreciate them so much. Farm Bureau promised now for 8 decades. They do it right. War Memorial Stadium had a great experience there with a big win over Arkansas State a couple weeks ago. John Latch, Mark Pike, I know Kevin Crass is here today as well. Appreciate you guys and all the hard work that you did. We won't get into too many details about that today, or will we? I don't know. It's up to Hunter. We'll see. I want to thank our media sponsors, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. I see Amanda Copley over there. Saw Wally at the game over in Oxford. Last week, our Player of the Week was accountable for 6 RJ touchdowns. I'll just tell you, our Player of the Week here today he scored more than 6 touchdowns in this past weekend. I mean, it's just unbelievable the number of stats that we get with our Players of the Week. 103.7 The Buzz. Justin and DJ are out there broadcasting live. And if you don't mind, pop by will you hit those doors, by the way? Hunter was on with them to go and thank the most talented radio guy in America, Roger Scott over here, my partner for so many years. And we also have our producer, Josh Neighbors, here with us today. Appreciate 103.7 The Buzz. AY Media, look, it's something when we get now, Freddie, you're up here. They don't even have you. They have the new guy. They have the new guy now. They don't even care. He's not even here, and he's on the cover. But then you open it up. Heather Becker doesn't miss a beat here. Big story. Where's it at? Let me get to it. Big story on Hunter Yurachek right here. Hunter, you've been coming for so many years. Look at that. Look at that. So I had to ask him, I said, did I give you the little baby thing, or did you give me the little baby thing? And I gave you the little baby thing because you were a granddad, right? Thank you, Jessica. She helped on that. But do thanks to AY Magazine and App Magazine for their great support of the Touchdown Club. Can I mention, too, what's coming up or no? So we've already had a cover story on Jimmy Johnson, which was outstanding, but Heather is also doing a story on Kelly Finglass, which is not easy to get access to, the director of the Cowboy Cheerleaders. So that's coming up, so don't want to miss that. So appreciate you, Heather, for all your support of the Touchdown Club. Of course, Arkansas PBS, Anita, Brian, Kevin, Tanisha back in the back. We got the best in the country. Nobody does it better than them. You wouldn't believe how much work it takes to do all this, to set that up. They come in and set up hours in advance, and so we appreciate them. JF Media and Marketing, Alicia Dover and Jeremy Flynn. One of the clips from Darren McFadden last week, just to give you an example. I asked him about, I implied, Hunter, did you ever get paid? I said, now I'm asking all these former players now, statute of limitations just run out. And he just sort of laughed and went down and came up, and he said, oh, man, I committed when I was a junior. And so you never really said, no, I didn't. He just said, I committed when I was a junior. But that one post alone got about 750,000 views. So you never know what goes viral. I think last year you had a clip that went over 1 million. Did you know that? You did. So it's amazing the things you say here that have the reach. And so, but thanks to Alicia for being able to push that stuff out there. We appreciate her and what she does with JF Media and Marketing. Also want to make mention, see this, I want everybody to look over here to this group. So this is our staff from the DoubleTree. This is Tiffany, Nita, Angel, Tyon, Gustavo, and AJ. This is a group who spends 6 to 8 hours setting up our rooms every weekend. Hunter, this group was here, and I was here with them yesterday at 9 o'clock until 2 o'clock, and then they were here this morning to do all this. And no other hotel in America does it, but they are outstanding. Couldn't do it without all of you guys. Thanks so much, and ladies. So thanks to the DoubleTree. Sunbelt Convention Services, Tim Glasscock. Rockstar Passes, Brad Rickett and Joey Gonzalez. And I do want to thank our new sponsors, Midtown Plumbing, started in 2013, based in Benton, Haley and Jim Coleman. Woman-owned business, along with Kyle Jackson. We appreciate them. They're great people. Arkansas Surgical Hospital. If you have to have surgery, Hunter, you come down here. They've got 41 private patient suites, 13 state-of-the-art operating rooms. When it comes time for your doctor to do surgery, say you want to be at Arkansas Surgical Hospital. And of course, Arkansas Spine and Pain, Dr. Qureshi, Scott Davis, great doctors, 6 different cities. Let's give a round of applause for all of our great sponsors to have them there to do what we do. Hey, Hunter, there's others that have to get sponsors too, just like you. Just like you. We got some great ones. Don't come poaching on ours now. Don't come poaching on ours. I also want to thank our Touchdown Club team, Dwayne Duncan, the best in the business at taking photographs, Chris Kane, Steve Sullivan, who does the introductions each week, Steve Qualls doing our T-shirts, appreciate him. RJ Hawk told me it was a year ago, Hunter, that you came up to him and said something about, what about a raffle? And so RJ took that, you mentioning that to him, and took that and created the raffle that's now raised about, $500,000 for Razorback Athletics. So, yeah, well done. Yeah, that's exactly right. Well done. Never know what happens at the Touchdown Club. Good job, RJ. Appreciate him. And, of course, our amazing volunteers. If you're a volunteer led by Debbie Wyman, I want all of our volunteers to stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Hunter, this is the group we have to make this thing work every week. Guys back in the back. Guys and ladies, thank you so much. Couldn't do it without them and Debbie for sure. All right, it's time to introduce our All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week presented by the Democrat Gazette. RJ, come up and blow everybody away with the stats from this young man.
Thank you, David. And as David said, we talk about stats every week. And every week I get blown away by the numbers that come in across the state. And this week, our Player of the Week comes to us from Smackover down in South Arkansas. His name is Mitchell Polk. He's a senior quarterback. So 2 weeks ago, they played Fountain Lake, and in that game, Smackover won 63-28. His numbers were very modest. 15 of 24 for 304 yards and 6 touchdowns. But that wasn't enough. He also carried the ball 9 times for 136 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they ended up winning that game 63-28. So now fast forward a week, they played Junction City, who everybody knows in high school football. Junction City's usually pretty good, right? Well, they beat Junction City 37-28, and I asked him, I said, how many did you throw for? And he said, man, I only threw for about 80 and a touchdown. I said, well, that's not very good. And he goes, but I ran the ball 15 times for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. So in 2 weeks, he's thrown the ball for 384 yards and 7 touchdowns, but he's run the ball for 306 yards and 5 touchdowns. His mom, Carrie, his dad, Brandon, they're both here. Your All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week is Mitchell Polk from Smackover.
So just to do the math on that, in his first game 2 weeks ago, 9 touchdowns he accounted for, 6 throwing the ball, 3 rushing the ball. And he's wearing the mustache. Wearing the mustache. You see that? Young man, yours truly used to do the mustache. Back when Burt Reynolds and Tom Selleck were cool. I'm just going to tell you, I'm glad that's come back. My gal has asked me to bring it back, but I've said no right now. You know, I can only do so much. But thank you. Congratulations, Mitchell. Continued success. I think that's the first player we've ever had for Smackover, Rex. It may be. Yeah, Buckaroo, exactly right. All right, well, a lot of great games this weekend. Didn't all come out the way we wanted to, but it was been fun watching both college and NFL through the first 3 weeks. Rex Nelson, come on up. Give it up for Rex Nelson.
Thanks, David. Boy, it was an exciting day of college football, wasn't it? High-scoring games, close games, important games, all over the map. Don't you love this sport of college football? It can disappoint you at times, but it is a great sport, and we're lucky to be here and celebrate it every Monday like we do. We will start with Ole Miss 41, Arkansas 35. Only turnover of the game proves the difference at the end. Ole Miss started a transfer from Ferris State, Trinidad Chambliss. He went 21 of 29 passing, 353 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions while filling in for the injured Austin Simmons. And we'll probably be seeing a lot more of him at Ole Miss this year. Now, David, he had experience against an Arkansas team. Ferris State knocked off, you may remember, defending Division II national champion Harding last year in the playoffs. He was Ferris's quarterback when they beat Harding last year and then led them to the national championship. And then Ole Miss went out with its NIL money and bought him out of Michigan. So 7 of the past 11 Ole Miss-Arkansas games have seen both teams score more than 30 points. 7 of the last 11. Uncanny, almost always high scoring. Arkansas, I'm going to give you some good stats here. They're offensive stats. But Arkansas has topped 500 yards in each of its first 3 games, averaging 568 per game. The school record is only 482.5. That's from 2010. So we'll see how the rest of the year goes, but certainly on track right now for a new school record. Taylon Green averaging 9.6 yards per carry. School record 8.7 set by Felix Jones back in 2007. Hogs are averaging 324 passing yards per game. School record 333.7 from 2010. So on track right now for a number of school records. Frustratingly, though, Rebels have now won 3 in a row against Arkansas. Lane Kiffin goes to 4-2 against Sam Pittman. And I stand by what I said last week. And that is, I do believe the tailgate scene here in Little Rock is far superior to their vaunted Grove. But I have to hand them this. Ole Miss is 29-3 in its past 32 home games. 29-3. Sam Pittman's Arkansas record now right at 500, 32-32. Let's move on. Iowa State 24, Arkansas State 16 in Jonesboro. ASU gave a nationally ranked team all it could handle. In fact, late penalties and turnovers proved the difference. ASU could have won this game. Their quarterback, Jalen Rayner, 19 of 33 passing, 222 yards. He had 83 yards rushing on top of that. So now we have 2-1 Arkansas at 3-0 Memphis. As you know, that's 11 a.m., early start, ABC. But at the end, when I list the Arkansas towns, it's right across the river. We're adopting Memphis this week. Us and the National Guard. We're both adopting Memphis right now. Not to get political or anything. You read the news. But anyway, you have no excuse not to go. We want more Razorback fans in Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, name of that stadium, than Memphis fans on their field. And think about it. You're back here in time for dinner. So no excuse. 1 and 2 ASUs at 1 and 2 Kennesaw State this week. Other Division I games, and believe me, Chris, I won't dwell on this. UCA falls to 1 and 2, a 56-10 loss in Conway to 4-0 Tarleton. I'll only tell you, Tarleton came in ranked number 3 nationally in FCS. They've already beaten Army at West Point this year. They could very well win an FCS national championship, and UAPB does get its first win, 1 and 2, following a home victory, 34-8, over the Lincoln Oaklanders. You say, what are the Lincoln Oaklanders? Well, I had to do a little research. It's a school in Oakland, California, about 500 students. And the best I can determine, the Oaklanders are almost like a traveling squad, almost like a traveling intramural squad that just travels the nation and tries to make money playing football games. So at least UAPB got a win out of the Oaklanders. All right, Arkansas GAC teams were 4 and 2 against Oklahoma teams in the first week. You remember I told you last week, 5 and 1 this week. So combined record of 9 and 3 against Oklahoma so far. Really a good Thursday night for Arkansas. Combined score in 2 games, 99-0. Number 2 Harding, which is just unstoppable right now, 55-0 over Southwestern Oklahoma. In fact, I did tell Randy, David, I hope you don't mind me interfering with your prayer, but I said, we don't need any of those Church of Christ prayers for Harding. They don't need any help at all this year. They're good enough as it is. 55-0 over Southwestern. Arkansas Tech, with a new head coach, is 2-0, 44-0 over Northwestern Oklahoma. And then on Saturday, Ouachita's Todd Knight, congratulations to him, becomes the winningest coach ever at an Arkansas school with a 41-21 victory over Southeastern Oklahoma. It was win number 163 for him. Believe it or not, Ouachita's also second on that list. He passed his old coach, Buddy Benson, who's second, and Arkansas's Frank Broyles is third on that list. So congratulations to Todd Knight. Really amazing. Those of you who know me know I follow Ouachita closely. They've only had 3 head coaches in the past 60 years. Not many colleges can say that. SAU goes to 2-0, 26-18 win at 0-2 Southern Nazarene. Henderson is 2-0, 28-14 win at 0-2 Oklahoma Baptist. UAM, Bill, I'm sorry, those Weevils are 0-2, a 38-13 loss to 2-0 East Central Oklahoma. In Division III, Hendricks is 1-1 after a win against Huntington of Alabama, and Line opened its new on-campus stadium. Gotta love the name of the stadium. It's Bad Boy Stadium, because Bad Boy Moors are headquartered there in Batesville. But Arkansas Baptist College, an NAIA school, goes up there and beats them 20-19. So Arkansas Baptist is 2-1, Line is 0-2. And what a Saturday in the SEC, as I said. You had that Georgia 44-41 win in overtime at Tennessee in front of more than 100,000 people. You had Texas A&M go on the road and beat Notre Dame, the first of 2 SEC schools that will beat Notre Dame this year, 41-40 over Notre Dame. You had Vanderbilt 31-7 at South Carolina. Vanderbilt moving into the AP top 25 at number 20. And get this, this is the earliest a Vanderbilt team has ever been ranked in the AP poll. And you had LSU 20-10 over Florida. as the hot seat heats up for Billy Napier at Florida. He's 1-2, and he's got to go to Miami right now this week. So he's staring at 1-3. Not many conference games this week. You have Auburn at Oklahoma. You have South Carolina at Missouri. But again, here in the state, we're including Memphis. But we've also got Harding at Southern Arkansas, Arkansas Tech at Ouachita, Henderson at UAM, and Millsaps at Hendricks. So, games in Magnolia, Arkadelphia, Monticello, Conway, and Memphis. Get off your rear. Get out and see a college football game. No excuse this week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Rex. Appreciate that. I do want to recognize a couple of folks. First of all, props to my mom, who was feeling under the weather today, but she showed her guts by still getting out of here. She's not going to miss the touchdown club. There's no time to be sick. There's no time to be sick when touchdown club's on Monday. That's what I love, Mother. You instilled that in me. Also want to mention, I mentioned all the folks from the hotel. Jessica, my girlfriend's son, Davis Ford. Want to give it up for Davis, is helping us do all of our setup and breakdown every week. Davis, thank you so much for your help every week doing that. Some special guests here today from representing the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees, Kelly Eichler. Where's Kelly at? Is she here? Where's Kelly? Let's give it up for Kelly Eichler, everybody. Kelly was also a cheerleader when I played ball. I had no shot at her. I heard she only dated quarterbacks, so I knew that I was out of luck. Just kidding, Kelly. Great to have her here today. Also, Ryan White, the head of the Razorback Foundation. Let's give it up for Ryan, everybody. Thank you for being here, Ryan. Appreciate him. And a guy who just works around the clock that I saw him at the game. He didn't get back. Hunter, Kyle Parkinson is here. Sports information, as we used to call him back in the old days, communications director. Kyle didn't land back in Fayetteville till 2:45 a.m. on Sunday. But for those of us who knows what know all the things he does, it's really amazing. He was here with Sam Pittman, but nobody in the country does better than Kyle Parkinson. Let's give it up for him. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate you. I think our pilots are here who flew Hunter down. Thank you guys for flying him safely, getting back up there, if you don't mind, safely as well. So appreciate them and the work they do on behalf of the U of A. All right, it's time to introduce our video. Sully does a great job. Pay attention to all the amazing stats. Speaking of, Andrew was shocked that you didn't bring out one of the greatest stats from the game this Saturday, from Taylon Green. Taylon Green becomes the only quarterback in the history of all the great quarterbacks that we've had at Arkansas, the only one to throw for 300 yards and to run for 100 yards in one game. Pretty amazing with all the great quarterbacks that we've had. So it really was one for the ages, and he basically carried that team to a chance to win there at the end, but did want to include that. All right, let's take a look at Sully's introduction of our guest speaker today, Hunter Yurachek.
It was Hunter Yurachek that brokered the deal that brought Arkansas and Arkansas State together at Memorial Stadium. And he was responsible for ending Arkansas's long-standing policy of not playing other state schools. This year, the Razorback baseball team has scheduled every Division I team in the state. In his 8th year at Arkansas, Hunter has led Arkansas to top 20 finishes in the prestigious Learfield Cup in each of the last 5 years. Arkansas has won 39 SEC championships in the past 7 years, including 31 conference titles in the past 5 years alone. This past year, 6 Arkansas programs made deep postseason runs, and an incredible 9 student athletes were named Player of the Year, including Vahiva Aloy and Bree Ellis. The work in the classroom, just as impressive. 32 straight semesters with at least a 3-point GPA. The Yurachek family has grown during his time at Arkansas. Hunter is now a granddad. Please welcome Pops, Arkansas's Director of Athletics, Hunter Yurachek.
David, you were mistaken. I'm actually yelling at the radio listening to your show talking about me. All right, now that we've broken the ice on that one, it is great to be here in Little Rock again and to have a chance to be a part of this incredible organization. I make fun of David a lot because of all the sponsors he reads off, but you can tell he's got a passion for this, works his butt off to make this a really special event. And it's probably the best touchdown club there is. And of course, I love being sandwiched between Darren McFadden and Tim Brown. And I know David's a big advocate for free speech, and so I'm here to give one today. So, well, it is truly an honor and a privilege for me to be now finishing up my 8th year as a director of athletics at the University of Arkansas. And it is a place that my wife, Jennifer, and I truly love being a part of the state of Arkansas and this community. And I say it time and time again, what makes this state so incredibly special are its people. And I truly believe that Coach Broyles made the position of the Director of Athletics at the University of Arkansas a special position to those people across his state. And, you know, I try to walk in his shoes and make sure that I keep it a special position for the people across the state of Arkansas. So my roadmap for today, if you've heard me speak, I apologize, but we're going to talk real quickly about the success of our student athletes in 24-25 because I love bragging about our student athletes. I'm going to touch on 25-26, and then I'm going to leave some time for some Q&A with David at the end. But as we go back real quickly and look at 24-25, just my student athletes, our student athletes continue to amaze me at what they accomplish. And so we had 104 student athletes last year who exhausted their athletic eligibility, and 102 of those left the University of Arkansas with at least one degree. We finished 11th in the Learfield Directors Cup. That's out of 350 approximately Division I schools. That was 5th in the SEC. That is the 3rd time in the last 5 years that we've been in the top 11 and the 5th time in the last, in a consecutive, that we've been in the top 20 for the first time in the history of our athletic program. We won 3 SEC championships, which gives us 39 over the course of the last 8 years. To give you some perspective on those 39 across 12 different sports, our friends to the north at the University of Missouri have won 0 during that same time period. We had 6 teams that were ranked number 1 for at least 1 week during the course of the year. That was our softball team, our women's soccer team, our baseball team, men's indoor track, women's indoor track, and our women's golf team. We had 13 of our 19 teams that were ranked in the top 25. 10 advanced to the Sweet 16, 6 advanced to the Final 8, and our men's outdoor track and field team was 1 point shy of winning their 52nd national championship at the National Outdoor Meet last June. We had 4 individual national champions, 3 in track and field and 1 in women's golf. We won our 3rd consecutive bowl game. We had the National Player of the Year in baseball and softball. And we set revenue records last year in ticket sales, sponsorship sales, concessions, and merchandise sales. And our Razorback Foundation set an all-time fundraising record. Additionally, we set an all-time attendance record when you take into account what we did with football, men's basketball, baseball, softball, gymnastics, and women's soccer. So 24-25 was, again, another banner year. So let's give that year a round of applause. 24-25 was the last athletic season of its kind, because on July the 1st, 25-26, as we started the 25-26 athletic season, we ushered in a new era in college athletics. That's an era where there's no longer scholarship limits. There's now roster caps, and where we can take $20.5 million of athletic department generated revenue and share that with our student athletes. When I sat here at this time last year, we knew we were going to have a challenge, a significant budget challenge, because as we looked ahead to our budget projections for this year, we had a balanced budget of about $170 million in revenues and $170 million of expenses. And if we were going to remain competitively within the SEC and nationally, we had to figure out how to put a new $20.5 million line item into our athletic department operating budget. As a reminder, we're a self-sustaining athletic program at the University of Arkansas. We don't get $1 from the state, we don't get $1 from our university, and we do not have a student athletic fee. So everything that we generate as an athletic program is reinvested into our athletic program and reinvested into our student athletes. So we had to make some really tough decisions. We had to balance our expenses, reduce our expenses, and find ways to increase our revenue. Some of the things we did, we made the decision, a really tough decision, to remove the Austin Awards from our student athletes. We used to have the ability, we still have the ability, we just don't do it anymore, to give $6,000 to each and every one of our student athletes in the form of an educational award on top of their scholarship. We pulled that back. We had been very liberal in the past with who was able to attend summer school. We now have a summer school application process where only student athletes who need to attend for academic reasons can attend summer school. That saved us another 7 figures. We changed the way our teams travel and how we allocate per diem, both to our staff and to our student athletes. But our biggest line item in our athletic department budget is salaries and benefits. Roughly $65 million of our $170 million budget is tied up in salaries and benefits. So we knew we were going to have to make some really challenging decisions when it came to our staff. The first thing we did in 24-25, anytime a position was vacated, we evaluated, was that position very important to our success of our student athletes? Did it have duties that could be reassigned to someone else? So we didn't backfill several positions. We offered early retirement packages to our staff members who qualified for early retirement. We had a lot of success with that in COVID. We didn't have nearly as many of those staff members that took us up on an early retirement opportunity. So then we had to evaluate a reduction in force, where I asked each of our 4 deputy athletic directors that oversees our 4 major areas to find me 10% savings within our department. And I said, focus on the position, do not focus on the person. Focus on the position, and where do we have positions that are not imperative to the success of our student athletes, generating $1, and bring me back 10% savings that we can discuss. And so we eliminated roughly 15 of those positions from our department. It was really tough, but again, it was about the position and not the person. Because as a leader, if I looked at the person, we wouldn't have let anyone go, because we have incredibly talented, great people within our department. And so we had to look at the position. And so that's how we reduced our expenses. And then on the revenue side, I was really popular when we announced that we were going to reseat Bud Walton Arena for men's basketball. Wasn't I? How many are really happy with me right now? But what I can tell you is we had estimated conservatively $4 to $6 million we would generate in revenue from that. The Razorback Foundation team and our external team did an incredible job. And I can tell you, as we sit here today, we have generated $10.8 million in new annual income because of our men's basketball reseeding at Bud Walton Arena. And that's a testament to Razorback fans across the state stepping up. We had over 200 Razorback Foundation members that went to our new diamond level, which is an annual contribution of $40,000 or more. And I think it's also the impact of having Coach Cal as our head coach, and what that means and the pride we take as a state to have a Hall of Famer as a coach and the talent that he's bringing to our program. As been mentioned, the 50-50 raffle we launched, and we've close to about $500,000 in new revenue from that. We're bringing special events to our venues like we had at Baum-Walker Stadium recently with the Savannah Bananas. We're trying to find another major concert to bring to our football stadium. We're close to securing an international soccer match in the year of the World Cup. It will not be a World Cup match, but it'll be an international soccer match at Razorback Stadium. All of those things generate new revenue that we're able to plug back into our budget. And kudos to my staff. They worked really hard during the past year. And as we sit here today, we were able to provide $2.5 million in new scholarships for our student athletes, mainly on our women's side, and $18 million of revenue sharing, which is the cap that you can have within the SEC. And as 25-26 has begun, our teams are off to another great start. Our men's and women's golf teams are both ranked nationally, as are our men's and women's cross-country teams. Our women's soccer team is ranked nationally, and our football team, after a tough road loss at Ole Miss, is off to a 2-1 start, and I think we all can be very encouraged about how they have played so far. Look, if you go on the road in the SEC at night, and a team that's only lost 3 of their last 32 road games in an incredible atmosphere, and you have the ball with 2 minutes to go and only 25 yards you need to get to win that game, you've put yourself in a great position. Am I disappointed that we lost? Absolutely, as I know all of you are. But I tell you, nobody's more disappointed than those young men and our coaching staff in that locker room, because that was a game that we had in the palm of our hand and had a great opportunity to win. Offensively, off the charts. Defensively, we've got some work to do. And I can tell you, Coach Pittman and I visited after the game. We talked on the phone yesterday, and it starts with our coaches on that side of the ball. And they're addressing some things. They've got to do a better job preparing our young men and putting them in positions to be successful. And I think you will see a big difference in how our student athletes play on the defensive side of the ball. And again, that starts with our coaching staff doing a great job evaluating tape, putting together a great game plan and implementing that game plan, because it's their job to put our student athletes on that side of the ball in a great position to win. Now, we win as a team and we lose as a team, all right? I'm not putting a loss on our defensive side of the ball, but that is an area that we've got to improve in, and we'll continue to get better on the offensive side of the ball as well, if you can believe that. 2 Saturdays ago, what a special, special day it was at War Memorial Stadium as we played Arkansas State for the first time. The game ended the way it should have, with the Razorbacks with a dominating win, right? Sorry if there's any Redwood fans in here. And as has been well documented over the past several days, Governor Sanders has asked the leadership of both of those institutions to come together to see if there's a way to continue that game at War Memorial Stadium. And I can tell you that that's what's happening on our campus. The athletic department leadership has met. I'm meeting with Chancellor Robinson. We've involved our system board and President Silveria, and so we're doing that part on our end. And so, but my primary role as a director of athletics is to make decisions that I believe are in the best interest of our student athletes in our department to be successful in both the short and the long term. And so playing football games at War Memorial Stadium is a key piece of the history of being Razorbacks. But I know that our fan base and our state always have wanted what's best for our program. And so as we enter this new area of college athletics, playing football games in Little Rock, to continue to do that requires some thoughtful consideration, and that's exactly what we're doing at this point in time, and that's my update on the games in Little Rock. And so now we can turn our attention to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium and one more road game versus Memphis before we return home the next 5 of the 6 weeks to face Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Auburn, and Mississippi State. We'll intermingle a bye weekend there and a road trip to Tennessee. But a lot of tough games ahead for our football program, but really optimistic and excited about what's in store for our program moving forward as we hit the next 3 or 4 games. So, David, with that, I'll be quiet and let you ask some questions.
All right, Hunter, let's just start with this is his, I think, Hunter, you may have the record, Rex, I'm not sure, the most visits to the Little Rock Touchdown Club, 7 years. If not for COVID, it would be 8 years. And so, just wondering, being an athletic director has always been about raising money. I mean, that's always been, going back to Coach Broyles, that's part of what you do. But, man, what's it like right now, the pressure on the money situation like never before? Maybe just give a description on when you got into this business compared to what it is now.
Yeah, I'll just put it in perspective. When I arrived at the University of Arkansas back in December of 2017, I was coming from the University of Houston that had an operating budget of about 50 to 60 million. Most of that was subsidized by the University of Houston. I arrived here, our budget was 125 million. And I was thinking that there's no way I can spend all of this, 125 million. And now, our operating budget this year is 181 million, and I'm looking for more. And so there's so much pressure on athletic directors across the country as we share revenue with student athletes for the first time ever. I mean, it is literally plugging in a new $20 million line item into your budget. That's an expense. And so if you're a business owner, you understand how challenging that is and some of the tough decisions that you make. And on top of that, as I mentioned, we're probably one of 15 self-sustaining athletic programs in the country where we don't get a dollar from the state, the university, and we don't have a student athletic fee. That makes it even more challenging to do the job that we have to do at the University of Arkansas. But what makes it run and what makes it happen is the people across this state and how incredibly generous they are. Whether you are donating to the Razorback Foundation, whether you are buying season tickets, whether you are a sponsor, whether you buy merchandise and never come to a game, whatever it is, people support us and our revenue is growing. And I mentioned all those areas we set records in. That's people across this state spending money to support the Razorback athletic program, and that's what makes it special.
How impactful, you mentioned Coach Cal and how that impacted the ticket rearrangement of the seating situation at Bud Walton. What about football? Football is the bell cow. How important is it, the win-loss record, in terms of being able to generate money? I know you haven't been able to sell the naming rights to the stadium yet, and that's been a year and a half. So is that related to win-loss, and how important is win-loss in relation to raising money?
Yeah, well, just the stadium naming rights, we've been talking about selling it for about a year and a half, and we tried to go in the private sector, and then the university is in the midst of a major $200 million campaign. I thought it was disingenuous to go to those same donors at the same time, and so now we're trying to go the corporate route, and we've been engaged with a couple of third parties to have someone go out and sell that. So we will really hit the road. Your sponsorships are in jeopardy, by the way, David, because we're going to start trying to find some naming rights to Razorback Stadium. But, you know, hopefully we'll be able to secure that in the next year to year and a half. But obviously, the more you're winning, the more people come to your stadium. The more people that come to your stadium, the more eyeballs that are on all your sponsorships, especially the naming rights to your partnership. And so it drives the value up, the more people that are in Razorback Stadium.
Frank Fletcher is a good friend of ours and obviously a great supporter. He's been public about his support financially of Taylor Green, that kind of relationship. In your mind, is that what you have to have going forward, is to have 10, 20, 30 Frank Fletchers that have to, you know, that will jump in and support an individual player? Is it back to what you talked about last year, back to the NIL pool of getting everybody to contribute?
Yes. If we could get 10 to 20 Frank Fletchers, and we do, and then we get people across the state to continue to support us. I mean, again, and I mean this in all seriousness. I mean, what makes this state special? We're one of the smallest states in the country, and we have our flagship athletic program is a self-sustaining athletic program, and we have found a way to make it work, and it's because people across this state, not just the Frank Fletchers and those that have the wherewithal to support us at a high level, but everybody doing whatever they can. And again, if you never can come to a game, but you can buy something with a hog on it, that supports us. If you can buy single game tickets, season tickets, whatever, it all works together. Funny story about Frank Fletcher. I'm going to tell this, and he probably won't mind. Frank called me one day, and this will tell you the Coach Cal effect, and he said, "Hunter," he said, "Coach Cal's called me. I know he's coming by to ask me for some money." And I said, "I've already given to Coach Pittman in the football program. I'm not going to be able to give to Coach Cal." I said, "It's fine. Just listen to what he has to say, Frank. You don't have to give him anything." About 2 hours later, Frank calls me back and said, "I'm going to give him some money."
What about, I know you talked about last year when you were here about the NIL program from Arkansas. I know the first year or so you struggled defining the leadership of the Arkansas NIL collective. How is the collective going, or how is the NIL part of U of A going from where you started?
Yeah, so there's really two major paths you have now in college athletics. You have the revenue sharing path, which we have figured out, and you have legitimate name, image, and likeness, where just like a professional athlete, if a college student athlete has a value to their name, image, and likeness, and a for-profit business product or service wants to engage that student athlete to help them promote their business product or service for profit, that's legitimate name, image, and likeness. And if we could operate within those two lanes in college athletics, we would be in a really, really good spot. But we have some schools that have decided to find a third lane, which I will call illegitimate NIL. And what we have right now in college athletics is we have a speed limit, but the signs haven't been posted on the interstate, and there's not a trooper that's patrolling. And so let's all raise our hands. If you're driving down I-40 and the speed limit's 55, but you know there's not going to be a trooper out that day, how many are going 65? Right? That's what's happening in college athletics right now. And so you have to decide as an athletic director, are you going to get out in this lane that you know you're not supposed to be in and operate without the highest level of integrity, or do you want to stay in these two lanes? And that's where the rub is coming right now in college athletics. Until we get our enforcement agency up and running, you're going to continue to have schools operating in that third lane, and that's a bad place to be, in my opinion. It's bad for college athletics. And I don't want to operate there. But I think to be competitive, we may have to figure out what that third lane looks like for the University of Arkansas. But we're in a good place otherwise. You know, Remy Cofield is our new general manager. He came from the Boston Celtics. He oversees our revenue sharing pot. He also oversees the NIL program. We have an NIL strategist within our front office that is out working with local businesses across this state to find NIL opportunities for our student athletes. Our partners at Learfield are helping us do the same. And so I really think we're in a good spot in those first two lanes.
Are you surprised too? I understand, one of the
That's
biggest
probably will go national, by the way, what I just said.
the complaints from so many coaches about the transfer portal and how disruptive it's been to have those two windows. And now it sounds like it's going to be rectified in January. Are you surprised it's taken this long for, the biggest sport in the country other than the NFL to get to this point to execute, to get that change? I've been surprised it's taken so long, even though everybody's in agreement in terms of people who coach, athletic directors. It's taken this long to get to the point, okay, we're going to get it done, but it sounds like it's going to happen, and that's been the biggest issue for coaches, right?
Well, it always takes a lot of time in college athletics to get, in this case, for the FBS to make a decision like that, you got about 125 schools that you have to get on the same page to make a decision like that. The Power Four carries a little bit more weight, and most of the Power Four schools are in agreement with that. And that's just one of the issues with the transfer portal. The other thing is the multiple times that you can transfer within your collegiate career, where, if you watch a television broadcast, it's hard to keep up with, this student athlete started at this school, now he's went to this school, now he's playing at this school. And I think Coach Cal's got a great solution that if you can transfer one time without penalty as a student athlete, and then after that we go back to the old rule where you have to sit out a year, that would compress the marketplace, and it also would kind of get our arms around this transfer portal piece. The window's going to help, but we've got to control the number of times you can transfer as well.
We had Darren McFadden here last week and talked about the patch that you guys had done, and you have dug your heels in. We're not retiring any jerseys, right? And so, but I did have, my good friends Joe Klein, Darrell Walker, former All-Americans, have expressed the interest in getting jerseys hung in Bud Walton. Is that something that you would consider doing, not retiring jerseys, but at least hanging them like you see at Kentucky or Duke or other schools?
You tell Darrell and Joe just to be patient. It's football season. We'll get to basketball season soon.
Along the same lines, too, I tell you, this comes up on our shows, Hunter, statues and things to be able to give tributes to former players. Is that something you'd be open to do? Because I know in this room, there's 5 people here, and I know what you're going to say when I tell you. There's 4 or 5 guys in there that said we would pay to have a statue of Darren McFadden somewhere on campus. We do. Yeah, would you look at that? I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, no, I'd rather have that money for the athletic department or NIL. But what do you think about the fans who want that kind of promotion and representation for the greats of old?
Yeah, one thing that I understand is really important to people across this state is the history of our athletic program and the success that we've had in so many of our sports, and never forgetting that past. I understand that. I can tell you as a staff, and I'm not making excuses, that for the past 2 years, we have been so focused on the future. I don't want to say that we've forgotten the past, but those things have gone on our side burner. And I think with the honoring of Darren McFadden's jersey this football season, we'll have some announcements of what we're going to do in basketball season in the near future. We're going to continue to embrace the past, because we know how important that is to honor our past and celebrate our past.
And in full disclosure, as you mentioned, I had been critical of what happened with Kevin Trainor. And here's the thing, I don't text you, you don't text me. It's your business and I've got my business. But one of the things you talked about, Hunter, in the challenge of trying to meet your budget is not looking at personalities or people, you're looking at positions. So I did want to say one of my reasons for being critical is because I feel like there is value in trying to retain people who have institutional knowledge of our campus and our schools. So you want to respond to that in terms of, that was my criticism, to say we got to find ways to keep people that are valuable, even though it may not fit within what you may see as valuable.
Yeah, and I agree. Kevin Trainor, first and foremost, is a great friend, still is a great friend, still communicate with Kevin. Kevin was one of the few people, because of the history that he has with our athletic program, that really had a soft landing spot within the Razorback Foundation and in moving the majority of the duties that he had, especially those involved with the history of our athletic program, to the Razorback Foundation. Kevin made the personal decision that he wanted to take a position with the Alumni Association, and I respect him for that. But because of how special Kevin was to our athletic department and to our university, we tried to find a soft landing spot for Kevin. He just decided that was not right for him and his family at the time and decided to move to the Alumni Association.
You feel positive about the future of the school. We listened to what Sully, in your introduction, pretty impressive, but you're also faced with challenges every day of schools that are raising big funds and some that have much larger budgets. Is Arkansas going to be able to compete with schools that have twice the budget size or have much larger income and maybe fan bases and alumni bases?
Well, I will tell you that there's a big canyon within the SEC where we sit at a $181 million budget. And there's multiple schools that are over $300 million for their operating budget this year. That's within the same conference. But at the same time, I'll tell you, like, I know the focus is on football and we all want to win in football, but at the same time, those schools have been outspending us for the last decade, and we've still won more SEC championships among more sports than any school in the SEC. And so I think we're doing just fine at the University of Arkansas, and I think we're set up to win a national championship in men's basketball moving forward. We know we're set up to win a national championship in baseball moving forward, and I think we're set up in several other sports to win a national championship. Football, where we are right now, we're not set up to win a national championship. I'll just be brutally honest with that. But I think we're set up to compete really well in the Southeastern Conference, especially now with the new revenue sharing model.
You feel that's directly related to directly related to finances. That's what you feel when you say that, correct?
Absolutely. It's directly related to finances and what programs were able to invest in their teams in the past and what they're continuing to invest. I mean, there was a loophole where schools could get ahead of the revenue sharing and pay really whatever they wanted to by June the 30th of 2024 to players that are on their current roster and save their revenue sharing for this year on next year's roster and kind of double dip in a sense. We were able to do that to a point, but we weren't able to do that at the same level that some of the schools that we compete with in football in this league.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Hunter Yurachek, everybody. Hunter will do pictures for a few minutes before he has to get back to Fayetteville. Oh, by the way, Alicia Curtis is here. So sorry I forgot to acknowledge Alicia Curtis of the Razorback Foundation. My bad on that.